And welcome to Lake TV's Community Spotlight Show. We've got a new guest for you every week. You can see the show every day at 9, 3, and 7 right here on Lake TV. And we are, of course, focusing on the shootout, which is coming up. So we don't have just one guest for you today. We've got two guests, the Maasens. We've got Mark, Tiffany Maasen. Thank you guys so much for coming down and joining us.
Very welcome.
All right.
Great to be here.
You guys are one of the power couples in the community. So it's setting you guys up to both be here at the same time. That was kind of tough because you're so busy.
Yeah.
Things are crazy around.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, the Spotlight Show presented by Hy-Vee, Lake of the Ozarks. So tell us a little bit about yourselves. Mark, you're on the board of the Shootout, co-owner of Polylift Boat Lifts, very successful. What does Polylift do?
Well, we're the premier lift at Lake of the Ozarks that do, and all we do is in-water floating boat systems. So basically, you have a boat that needs out of the water. Our floating system picks that up out of the water and protects it, and protection keeps your investment where it needs to be without having headaches.
Are we spoiled or what?
We're a little spoiled.
We don't have to put that boat on a trailer. We just pull into the old dock, lift it up, go. That's good.
No cleaning, none of that stuff they have to do on the coast and all that stuff. So it's a special little place and a special little product.
Yeah, it's sweetness. And Tiffany, you are a Hall of Famer.
Yes, I am.
And of the Shootout Hall of Fame.
An honored Hall of Famer.
Wow, I tell you what. And I was telling some other wonderful Shootout people, the Weirs, every time I talk with you, I start crying because we start getting the wishing on a ride stories and everything. So
awesome.
We'll try to keep the tears at a minimum today. But you're also a broker at Maasen Insurance.
Yeah.
So you stay busy with insurance.
Oh my gosh, insurance, everything, everybody's buying boats and houses here, so we are really busy. So I do home and auto business and a lot of boat insurance down here at the lake. So,
Yeah, can imagine that, right?
Oh, yeah, right.
So now, and Mark, I'm sure you've lived here forever, right? Polylift
Pretty
Boat
much,
Lifts?
yep.
So you've kind of been a lake guy your whole life.
Yeah, Dad started the company in 75.
75, okay. And how about you? Now, were you born here or did you move in?
I
or?
actually grew up in St. Louis.
Really? Okay.
And I moved here about 21 years ago. So
Okay.
I've been here for a while, and I actually met Mark at the Shootout. We were volunteering, and I started taking on more responsibilities and going to the meetings, and he caught my eye.
So it's a Shootout love story.
Yes,
here.
it is.
Okay, how did it happen? Who picked who up? Or do you remember?
Let's just say Mark picked me up at the boat parade.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So, and that actually answers another question. How long have you guys been around the Shootout? Again, Mark, it's probably been your whole life. Huh?
I was at Shootout 1.
Yeah.
Started out doing the patrol boats and helping Jeff Dorhauer and those guys get some of those things going in place. And Bob Morgan was really good friends with my dad, Dennis. And then Robbie and I were too much alike. And so I helped him do a bunch of things there to help get that grudge match, if you will, started when this whole thing began. And it's been part of my life ever since. Every year I've been there some shape, form, or the other.
And it's so special. And you guys are so involved now, which is, one of the things that makes this community so special. We were talking with Ron Dugan about that. The Shootout is special, not necessarily because of the boats. It's the people. It's the volunteers, but not just the volunteers, it's the wonderful people that volunteer. And then you got people like you guys that are so heavily involved. It's not just one thing, two thing is three. I mean, it's like everything. But you guys are huge in the poker run every year. I think you put your name on that, right?
Yes, we do.
Polylift.
Yep.
So what is the poker run? Now here you got some idiot from the city that moved here from Dallas a couple years ago, and I'm like, poker run? What's a poker run? What is a poker run?
Basically, we get 100, 120 boats together. They give money, $350, I think it is, to participate. And then we all start at one stop in the morning, and then we break out, and there's 8 different stops you go to. You end up at, this year, you end up at Shady Gators. We start at Captain Ron's. When we get there, then you, during the day, each restaurant you go to, you punch your wristband, and that gets you cards. And if you make it to all 8 stops, then you get to draw 8 cards. So basically, when you get to Shady Gators, you get to draw a poker hand.
I see.
And the best hand wins the monies. Like first place last year was, I think, $3,000.
Not bad.
A lot of people donate it back, so we get those monies back to the Shootout a lot of times. Last year, some interesting things that happened. First and second place were both from New Jersey or someplace up in the Northeast.
Wow.
They both they won, and they both took the monies back and donated it to the charities that they had up there because they weren't able to run their poker runs because of the whole COVID thing.
Right.
So it was a way to give. We gave back from not our community. We helped another community. So it was kind of a cool deal.
Yeah, and just saying from New Jersey shows the reach of the shootout. I mean, they came from New Jersey, to do that. Okay, so Poker Run, and Polylift puts its name on the Poker Run. Wishing on a Ride is another huge thing you guys are both involved in, and I think you probably, do you run that? You run that.
I started it, Ron. We had somebody that had the idea, and Ron just asked me, like he always does, thanks Ron, would I be interested in running it? And so, of course, Make-A-Wish has always been near and dear to my heart. I have a personal connection, and so I jumped in and started running it. So we basically work with Make-A-Wish Missouri, Kansas, and we put the word out to all the Make-A-Wish families. It's not really their wish, but it's just another thing that they can do to take their mind off of all the stuff they're going through. So we have families coming as far away from Oklahoma, Nebraska. They drive in, and our community, again, opens their arms. We get hotel rooms for those that are out of town that are coming in. They stay the night. We a lot of the restaurants donate meals. I know Red Oak Resort over in Greenview and Margaritaville are probably the two of them that I think of right off the top of my head that have done up to 10 rooms for families. And they always make sure they're handicap accessible if they need that. And then their employees actually take time off and volunteer to meet the families and kind of show them around town. And so then on Wish Day, when they come to the boat docks, either at Captain Ron's or Performance, they not only get a boat ride, they sometimes get a helicopter ride. Or this year, I think Brett over at Performance is adding Need for Speed. He's bringing in some Ferraris and Porsches so they can kind of maybe get a ride in a cool car too.
Wow.
So and
That's
it's
incredible.
And you're right. There's some stories. It's hard for me sometimes to tell the stories because
Don't tell them.
I can't tell on TV because
Start
I'll cry.
crying.
Yeah.
But the families are they connect with the boat drivers and the helicopter pilot and the guys with the cars, and they become friends. And a lot of times the boat drivers take a family. I say they adopt the family, and they take them to dinner, and they maybe pay for a couple more nights of rooms, and they show them around, and it really becomes this huge thing that's not just a boat ride. It's so much more.
Yeah, it's a life-changing
It is.
thing. Okay,
My
so-
volunteers come back every year. Volunteers come every single year, and many of them don't take their sunglasses off because it's so emotional.
Oh.
So,
And it's life changing not only for the participants, the ones that are getting to ride, but us that give the rides as well.
Yep.
You realize where you're at in life, and so all of a sudden some of those little problems that bug you and raise your blood pressure really aren't really
Kind of puts them in
problems.
perspective, doesn't it?
Puts the whole world in perspective real quick.
Okay, so we're talking with Mark and Tiffany Maasen, Polylift, and Maasen and Weiss. Is it Weiss or Weiss?
Weiss Insurance,
Weiss
yeah, out of
Insurance.
St. Louis.
And Shootout coming up fast. You guys heavily involved, and we'll talk so much more with the Maasens right after this.
There's nothing like summer at Lake of the Ozarks, and Hy-Vee and Osage Beach is your one-stop shop for your day on the boat and fun in the sun. We feature the lake's largest wine and spirits department, along with our lake-famous beer cave. And you'll want to check out our brand new Summer Fun Center with all your apparel, toys, coolers, inflatables, towables, and so much more. Hy-Vee and Osage Beach, voted the #1 grocery store in Missouri and your one-stop shop for an unforgettable day in the sun all summer long.
It's our most protective wash yet. Introducing the Quick Car Ceramic Wash. It's an industrial-grade polymer solution with ceramic nanotechnology, resulting in high-end, advanced scientific protection of your vehicle's finish. The Quick Car Ceramic Wash. Try it on its own or with the monthly Unlimited Wash Club today. Quick Car. Quick, easy, and professional every time. In Jefferson City and Osage Beach.
Discovered over a century and a half ago, Bridal Cave continues to amaze those who venture through it. As you tour through Bridal Cave, you'll see massive onyx formations, giant columns, and the one and only Mystery Lake. Bridal Cave's unique stalactite-adorned bridal chapel has provided a truly unique backdrop for over 3,000 couples from around the world. Bridal Cave is open daily, rain or shine. Guided tours leave every few minutes. Come explore the lake's favorite natural attraction. Explore Bridal Cave today.
Welcome back to Lake TV's Community Spotlight show presented by Hy-Vee, Lake of the Ozarks. Mark and Tiffany Maasen with us, and we're talking Shootout. It's Shootout time, and just one of the it is the biggest event of the year at the lake, right?
Definitely.
And for a great cause. All the money goes to charities in the area. Did it last year, and if we wouldn't have done it last year, some of those charities probably would have gone under.
Yeah.
That's how important this is.
And on top of that, we also had a record number of donors as far as monies raised. It was the biggest year the shootout ever had as far as raising money. In the middle of a crazy thing going on in this world, and we raised more money than we've ever raised before.
Unbelievable.
And the live auction's another venue, another way that
Yes.
people bring in.
So we talked about the
donations.
poker run, which raises money, right? And it's a good time had by all. We talked about wishing on a ride. We didn't tell any stories because we would have started crying. And then the live auction is another thing you guys are heavily involved in. And I think the live auction actually, isn't it the thing that brings in the most money
Yes,
every year?
it is.
So what is the live auction? What does that do?
So what we did is we partnered with Super Cat Fest over at Camden on the Lake, which has been great. Alvin Heathman over there has been awesome to work with. So we partnered with them, and we have the shootout auction at their venue. They have a dinner that is at the end at Saturday night, and we just put our auction in there. And how that all kind of came is a lot of the guys that are out there racing, American Ethanol, some, Win Farnsworth, John Woodruff, these guys that have boats, they go on a lot of poker runs, and they have been blessed in their lives, want to give back. So their place to do it is here at the Super Cat Fest live auction. So we get really cool items. Last year we had the prop from the American Ethanol boat that threw a blade when he was running down the track. So we were able to put that in there, and we have trips. This year I think we at Sarasota, a trip there for the spa from Dr. Michael Jansen, and there's just a lot of cool things that'll be there. And they bid from all over the country. We get a lot of these boaters that weren't even able to be here last year.
Wow. They bid by phone or
By
something.
phone,
Or
yeah.
say, hey,
We
I'll
have-
go to this amount, just make sure it's mine.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
So we ended up raising over $213,000 last year at the live auction alone. We did have some reserves that were paid out of some of that, but it allowed us to give, so we picked 4 kids charities for that. So Make-A-Wish, of course, is one of those. And then we also had Kids Harbor and this year, and we have Sharing and Caring Foundation, and then Raising Hope Free Store that puts shoes and coats on kids in the area.
Yeah.
So each of those charities last year received over $25,000 a piece. So it was a really awesome experience. It was just so great to see it all come together. And we also get cars donated by Randy Kent.
Yeah.
And they have a reserve on them, but every year we raise a lot of money off those cars. So he's an incredible giver in the community too. And then you've got, like I said, Win Farnsworth, he's in Florida. And he and his girlfriend Christine, Sarah Christine, they donate, and they also bid on items. So without those boaters supporting this event, I don't know what our charities would have done last
Wouldn't
year.
happen. Yeah. And you think, most communities don't have something like the shootout
No.
to help fund those charities, and you kind of wonder, well, how do they make it? And a lot of them don't make it. We just happen to be incredibly blessed. So we're down to our last minute or so. What makes the shootout so special?
It's family.
Family?
And volunteers. I mean, we could not do the shootout without my team of volunteers for the live auction, even when I ran the street party, and also the Make-A-Wish rides. So many volunteers and community partners, that sponsor the events, that make them happen. That's what makes this whole event work.
Do you guys still need volunteers?
Always.
We always need volunteers.
If somebody's watching, they say, hey, I want to do that. How do they volunteer? How do they get in touch with you?
Well, they can get a hold of the shootout through lakeoftheozarksshootout.org and just let us know volunteers. The Lake West Chamber takes the volunteer forms. But for our events, my personal events, they can just go online to the event and message, or they can call 573-368-1177. And I usually forward those messages to a team member who then gets a hold of them and signs them up for what they want to volunteer for.
Okay, sounds good. Can you ever have too many volunteers?
Nope.
No.
Okay, so.
No, because there's always some time where maybe someone's working 2 shifts that really just want to work one, but they're willing to do the second. And it can be as little as a few hours, or it can be the whole weekend. It's really open to whatever a person wants to do. It's just all about what your heart feels like giving back and what your time schedule allows. And again, as she said, lakeoftheozarksshootout.com, and or get hold of the Lake West Chamber and or the individual event coordinators. There's multiple ways to get a hold of people to make this happen.
Absolutely. All right, the Maasens, Mark and Tiffany, thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thanks for
Thanks for
having
having
us.
us.
Yeah.